Hey, what's up, everyone? It's really nice to be back. This is class number 13, and I guess that you've been well looked after by Natalia the last couple of weeks. Thank you for Natalia for covering me, and there'll be other times throughout the year when I'm not around. So Natalia will be covering me again. So if you enjoyed our classes, there'll be plenty more of that to come. But it's me, and I'm back, and I'm really happy to be back, getting into the swing of things. And chair yoga is one of my favorite classes. I love teaching chair yoga. I think it's such a brilliant practice that we can do so much within our chair. And what I thought today, what we do is we'll kind of go back to a little bit of basics about what is all this yoga about, right? Because we can get so obsessed, can't we, about it being about, loads and loads of physical postures and finding that perfect form and shape. And yoga's not about that at all. It really isn't. It's about just finding yourself, your presence, to sit like we are right now, and just to kind of tap inwards and just to settle, and ultimately just to be, I guess, curious about our practice, curious about how we move without any judgment. So I'm going to read a little bit at the start here, and it's from this book called Brightening Our Inner Skies. Let me get up and show you it. It's an amazing book, Brightening Our Inner Skies. It's by a great yoga teacher called Norman Blair, and he teaches yin yoga, not what we really practice here in chair yoga, but a lot of it is relevant to what we're going to do today. So I'd recommend this book. You can get it. I think it might be a little bit out of print, but you can certainly get it from secondhand bookstores. That's what I like to do. So you can search for it online. Try it. There's some real kind of wisdom in it. And what I'm going to read now is a little bit of wisdom, I think, anyway. So make sure you're settled. Here's my chair. I always show you my chair. Look at that. Beautiful. It's a Habitat chair. It's about 20 years old now, but it's doing me proud. It's got a nice back on it. It's solid. It's firm. Whatever you're practicing on, make sure it's stable and something you're used to. Maybe a little bit of a squishy cushion like I've got. And if you want to bring any other props in, go for it. Maybe a blanket or a pillow or a cushion. I usually do that. I'm not doing that today. It's warm, right? I don't want any blankets anywhere near me. So what Norman talks about, and we'll probably read a couple of these little pieces as we go through the class, is informing guidelines. Okay. So what he talks about is letting go. And I really like this. So we're letting go. We're letting go of wanting to be better. We're letting go of wanting to be somewhere else, right? Maybe that's this class, right? In half an hour, I can get on with my day, Dave. But try and really embody everything about this class, right? Letting go of planning for tomorrow, letting go of that inner dialogue, letting go of tension around the area of sensation. When we move the body, hopefully what we're doing is we're removing some of that tension from the body, letting go of the straining in our shoulders, how we sit and there's so much tension building, letting go of what we think we're supposed to do, letting go of impressing and improving, letting go of frowns and forcing, letting go of ambition and aggression, letting go of contrasting and comparing, letting go of holding, letting go of trying to control, letting go of a closed mind. And in this letting go, there could be a loosening of the rigid views that are an enemy of intimacy. Ooh, that's good, isn't it? In the letting go, there can be a loosening of the rigid views that are an enemy of intimacy. And then he says, final piece, real letting go is learned through realization of the cost of holding on and being resistant to flow. Much letting go can enable us to be here as we actually are, in an experience of authenticity. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, nothing to get, no one to be, nothing to have. And in this letting go, there can be a deep experience of release and unwinding and declenching, unpacking, releasing and undoing. So that, for me, that kind of reading, it takes all the tension away, or it takes all the expectation away from what I need to do here on my chair. I let it all go. I let it be what it needs to be. And it's perfect that way, right? Absolutely perfect. So there's no strain. There's no striving. There's no kind of, oh, I need to be here, I need to be there. That's what we're going to do today. We're just going to move a little bit. We're going to kind of free up our breath, and then you can get on with your day, right? The rest of the day. It's 2:30. Now, what is it? It's 3:30. So it's, it's relatively late in the afternoon. So we can feel a little bit, what's the word? A little bit lethargic this time, and it's warm as well. So what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of, slightly vigorous movement, or as vigorous as feels good for you. Make sure you're hydrated. I'm on tea. And then we'll get into the breath a little bit. So let's find ourselves in seated Tadasana. So remember, what I do is, if I spin my chair, I have my soles of the feet on the floor. I'm just looking down towards my toes. I need to cut my toenails. And then what I'm doing is, I've got my spine long, right? So you can do this where you sit back on the chair. But what I'm doing is I'm just perching myself kind of towards the front of my chair, rooting down through my feet, and then bringing my hands onto my knees. The palms can be up or the palms can be down. Shall I stay here? I'm going to stay here for a little bit. And then just bring that awareness into your body. Maybe close your eyes. And for the first time, if you haven't already, just check in with your breath, kind of tune in. And notice how you breathe, and notice where you breathe. So if you can, breathe in through the nose, breathe out through your nose. Nothing of the stuff we're going to do today is complicated. How does your breath feel? Remembering that yoga is a feeling practice. And in this moment of stillness, just take, 2 or 3 more rounds of breath, something like that. How do the soles of the feet feel on the surface that you're resting upon? If that's relevant for you, how does that feel within your body? And then from here, if your eyes are closed, maybe open your eyes. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin my chair forward, but stay exactly as you are. Stay perched on your chair. We'll do something a little bit familiar. In fact, we'll come back to some of the familiar stuff we've been doing those previous 13 weeks or previous 12 weeks. So the hands are on the knees, palms are down, and then just begin to draw some circles with your hips. So kind of like free the body up. And you might do this. You might inhale as you come here, and you might exhale as you come back. I've just spent a couple of weeks in France. I'm very lucky. And I've been driving around in my camper van, and I've been stopping at some amazing places, like really beautiful campsites with views of rivers and waterfalls and mountains. And what I did most nights, or at least half of the time, is I did a little bit of yoga. I rolled my mat out, and I don't always do that when I'm away, but it was these kind of movements, those kind of movements when we feel like we're sat for too long or we don't move too much. If you wear one of these tracking devices, then, it tells you, doesn't it? So, do some work, get up and do something, or kind of move the body and do something. So that's what we're doing here. And that's what I did when I was on holiday, kind of freeing up those tight spots. Come back the other way. So kind of just rotate your torso in the opposite direction. And these might be really tiny movements, right? And what I do is I inhale as I come forward, and I exhale as I just round back into the spine. And what are the sensations like within my body? What about the sensations around the body within the room? I've got balcony doors open here, and it's warm, but there's a beautiful breeze coming through, so I can feel it on my legs. And I'm happy that it's the summer. And I'll let you into a little secret. I went to a funeral only 2 hours ago. One of my friends, who was only in his 50s, and what he said, or what was read, was about just trying to appreciate the moments that we have. So that's what I'm doing, kind of dedicating my practice to Johnny, and just being in the moment and just like really appreciating that I can do this, right? Take that pressure away from your practice. You don't need to get somewhere. Don't strive. Inhale, come back to center. Take a full exhale and just lift up through your right foot if you can. And you might hold around the right ankle or the right knee, or you might just bring the toes onto the floor and lift your heel. We've got all of these options. So here, or maybe here, or maybe here, or maybe around the back of the legs. Kind of bring those movements in that feel good. I like this one because I can lengthen my spine, I can relax my shoulders, and then what I can do is I can just squeeze my knee in towards my belly. And breathe really deeply here. Nice deep inhales and full releasing exhales. Nice and soft through the jaw. Take one more round of breath. Deep inhale and then a full exhale. Beautiful. Bring that foot down and then bring the other foot up and squeeze the knee in again. And again, your choice. Maybe here. This is my preferred version. Maybe here a little lower. Back of the leg. That's fantastic. Maybe you just come up onto the toes and lift the heel. Still a lot of work going on. Or you can do it independently of the hands and chill out like this. So your choice. So a little compression into the hip, right? Little squeeze. Take one more round of breath. Nice and relaxed through the jaw again. And then exhale. Bring the feet down. And we'll come back to something within the hips in a moment. But what I want to do, 2 postures just to enliven the body a little bit, okay? So something nice and familiar. So take an inhale and just sweep the arms over towards the right. So you open your arms out. You see my wingspan is nice and wide. As I exhale, come all the way to center and then bring the arms over towards the left. Right? Sitting nice and tall. Inhale, bring the arms over towards the right. Exhale. Bring the arms over towards the left. So it's a little twist into your spine. And it's your speed, right? Because we all need different things at different times in our lives. So what I'm encouraging you to do is just experiment. And remember that working harder and faster is not necessarily better. You know, so what I do is I just find this little swinging motion. Inhaling and exhaling. It doesn't really matter where the inhale or the exhale is, as long as you're doing it to one side. So it might be any variation. You know, if it feels too much to bring the arms into play, bring the hands down, and you're just twisting from side to side. You know, it doesn't always have to be exactly what I'm doing. We all have different things going on. We all have different ranges of motion. So don't feel like, you know, it always has to be what I'm doing. When you're ready, inhale, come back to center, and then take a full exhale. Bring the hands down onto the knees, and then just give the shoulders a little shrug. I just do it quite informally. I'll kind of maybe roll the shoulders a little bit, and then I'll kind of shrug the shoulders up and maybe roll them back. I don't want to move too much today because it's warm, right? But I want to find as much energy just to kind of keep my energy levels topped up. That's a really nice thing. All right. Another thing we're going to do with the arms. If it's too much in the arms, you can just sit this one out. We're not going to do it for long. So we're going to stretch the arms up. So this is kind of like a 60-degree angle, okay? A little bit more than that maybe with the arms here. And then as you exhale, you're going to bring the arms down and you kind of strike the elbows into the ribs, all right? So it's a kind of a forceful strike, but not too forceful. You're not going to hurt yourself. So you inhale up through the nose, exhale, down, you just strike the ribs. Inhale, exhale. Nice, powerful breath. It might be that you don't bring the arms all the way up. You know, you don't have to bring the arms all the way up. You know, work with what you've got. Three more. Inhale the arms up. And then as you exhale, bring the arms all the way down. Kind of cone them down all the way down. And then hold on if you can. If you've got sides of your chair, kind of just hold on to the sides of your chair. Kind of root down through your feet. Lengthen out through your spine. Take a deep inhale. Take a full exhale. One more like that. Deep inhale. And a full exhale. Bring the hands back onto the thighs or onto the knees. And maybe you drop your chin down. And then what I'd like you to do is just rock your chin a little side to side. Kind of just freeing up your head, the back of the neck. How does that feel? Stay nice and relaxed with your jaw. Maybe even the eyes are closed. And then if you wanted to here, you can begin to circle your head out. Inhaling up, maybe exhaling as the head just comes down. And you can come back the other way if that feels good. Maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 rotations in the opposite direction. Staying connected to your breath. And then when you're ready, bring the head all the way back to center. And then take a full exhale. When you're ready, inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. And then when you're ready, exhale, twist towards the right. So what I generally do is in chair yoga is my feet are about hip width apart. My left hand will just come onto the outer edge of my right knee. So I kind of sweep that across. And then I'll hold on to my chair with my right hand, so quite purposefully. And then what I can do, I can use this kind of twisting action from the chair, pressing against the chair and pressing against the outer edge of that knee. And there's a nice twist, right? I can really kind of find a nice, beautiful twist to the side. Every inhale, find length. Every exhale into your twist. And then when you're ready, we'll swap it out. So inhale, come back to center, sweep the arms up, bring the right hand onto the outer edge of the left knee, the left hand behind. Inhale to find length, and then exhale into your twist. Breathing deeply here. Nice deep inhales. Full releasing exhales. Deep inhale. And a full exhale. One more like that. Deep inhale. And a full exhale. Beautiful. Inhale, come all the way back to center. We'll do something relatively calming, a little bit of work back into the hips, and then we're going to do something quite activating with our breath. Okay, so for here, we're going to do a cobbler pose. So what you're going to do, you're going to perch onto the front of your chair, and if you can, see if you can kind of bring the toes together, the soles of the feet together. It might be that you widen your legs out, so you're just finding this nice external rotation of your hips. So the legs are quite wide here. You know, this is perfect. You know, think about the space you've got. You might even place one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, and you kind of notice where you can breathe here, you know, how deeply you can breathe. If it does feel all right, you can come back to that first version that I did. You can walk the feet out a little. You know, it takes a little bit of tension out. You can walk the feet in a little. Whatever feels good for you. Maybe close your eyes and just take some really nice, releasing, harmonious breaths here. Harmonious is a good word, right? Maybe you notice your breath is feeling really different to how it did at the start of the class. And then when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, come with your eyes open. You can release the hands if they were like mine, and then come back to that seated Tadasana. Have a little shuffle around if you want to. Feet are on the floor. This is our seated mountain pose. What we're going to do here, we're going to do something called archer pose, right? Which is beautiful. And do you know what? I've never done it seated before, but it's going to work seated. And what we do here is we're going to use a breath rhythm called breath of fire, which we have done once before in the class. Okay, so maybe we practice this breath of fire together, and then what we can do is you can choose which breath you want to use, because you don't need to use breath of fire. It's quite activating. So if you want to practice breath of fire, we place one of your hands onto your belly with the palm down, and what you're going to do, imagine you have a fly stuck up your nose. Okay, blow it out. You feel that? It's quite forceful, the exhale, right? So do that a few times, so you force the air out. Okay, so that's the rhythm. Now, we didn't even think about the inhale there, right? But you were inhaling, you just didn't notice it. So the inhale is very, very passive. The exhale is quite strong and forceful. So try that again. There'll be a bit of awareness on the inhale now, but don't think about it too much, okay? So maybe speed it up a little bit. So force the air out. So you get it? The belly pumps in, the belly pumps out. That's why I say kind of place the hand on your belly so you can feel that. we're not going to do that during the posture. Now, if it's still confusing for you, think about how a dog pants. Okay, so a dog will pant through its mouth, right? And it will pant like this. Same thing, but we're just doing it through the nose. Do that one more time through the nose. All right, we got it. What we're going to do, we're going to do archer pose with it. So we're going to bring the arms up, okay? Bring them out. Keep your thumbs stuck up, just like that. So your thumbs are up, all the other fingers are tucked in. All right? Something really weird just happened to my screen. The kind of fireworks went off. I love that. That's beautiful. I'm not sure where that came from, but I really enjoyed it. What we're going to do from here is we're going to draw the right arm back. Keep the left arm forward. I'm just checking on time. Draw that right arm forward again. Let's do it one more time together. Root down through the feet. Keep this left hand exactly as it is. Draw the right arm back. So you look like an archer, right? You're going to roll this shoulder back. And then what I want you to do is I want you to look through your left thumb. Maybe have that kind of like screwed up warrior face, kind of like, so you've got all that power. And then you're going to do a long, deep breath if breath of fire doesn't work for you, or you're going to join me in breath of fire. So take a deep inhale to begin, and then start your breath rhythm. Take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, swap the arms out. Nice, beautiful. So right arm forward, thumb up, left arm back. You're in that archer pose, imagine Robin Hood. And then look through the right thumb, root down through your feet, and then your breath rhythm. Long, deep breath or breath of fire. Deep inhale to begin, wherever you go. Start your breath rhythm. Deep inhale and a full exhale. This time bring the hands down and then just pause. Palms are face up. You're in your Tadasana, your seated mountain pose. Maybe close your eyes if it feels okay. And just breathe it out. And what you're doing is you're just checking in. And what I like to say is you just notice what you're noticing. You know, maybe a little change in your energy within your body. And then if your eyes are closed, come with your eyes open, give your hands a little wriggle out, maybe even bring the arms out and just give your wrists a little rotation in one direction and then come back the other way. And then you can do some finger bursts. So maybe just kind of do this with the fingers and maybe give the arms a good shake out, a little shake to the side. Beautiful, really nice. So that's called breath of fire or Kapalabhati breathing. And it's also known as skull shining breath. So you kind of really feel it around this area. So be gentle with it. You know, it doesn't have to be always like super forceful. But when you're feeling tired, I love that breath. And, you know, when we're doing these kind of postures, archer pose, kind of feels good, right? Gives us a little bit of opportunity just to play with our postures. All right, let's do one more thing seated and then we'll do our final Shavasana, which will be our resting pose. So inhale if you can, sweep the arms all the way up, clasp the palms, push them up towards the sky. Maybe some of you guys are lucky enough to be practicing outside today. And then as you exhale, push the palms forward around into your spine. Really feel that. I can really feel that in my mid and upper spine, even my lower spine. Inhale to lengthen. And then exhale one more time into your seated cat-cow. And then this time, inhale to come up. And then with the right hand, hold around the left wrist. Inhale here. Exhale, bend over towards the right. Kind of roll that left shoulder back, the right shoulder forward. Exhale, and then just swap it out. So left hand around the right wrist. And then a little side bend here. And then inhale, come back to center. Exhale, swoop the arms down. And then any additional movements you want to bring in, you know, I'll make a little adjustment of my clothes. And remember with this one, I mean, I can show you pretty quickly. I can get up and show you. So maybe what you want to do is, I like to support my feet out in my final resting position. So this is where I go with it. And it just feels nice, right? I can support my legs, my ankles, do my pocket up on my trousers, on my shorts. And we'll just spend a couple of minutes here, or maybe not even that, 90 seconds or so, and just letting the effects of your practice settle in. You can always have the soles of the feet on the floor, by the way, and you can sit back in your chair. It's up to you where you go with Tadasana. I just let my feet fall open. Notice your breath, notice the effects of your practice. Maybe close your eyes. And let that deep stillness settle into your body. And from here, just really gently, slowly, you might bring a little bit of movement back in, maybe your fingers, your toes. That's where you want to go. That's where you can go. And then I'll kind of bend into my feet again, take my feet off the cushions and remove them off to one side. And then one final time, and just coming back to your seated position. Take a couple of balancing breaths here, noticing the effects of your practice, and for committing to your practice, for getting onto your chair to practice together. A little warm June afternoon. And then what we'll do is simple finish. We'll bring our hands to our heart, press your thumbs into your sternum, take a deep inhale here, and a full exhale. Maybe bow down. Namaste. Thanks so much, you guys. Thank you for joining today. It's really nice to be back. It was nice to practice with you all. Remember the 5-minute survey as well, by the way. You can do that. If you have a look at the chat bar, it's on SurveyMonkey. You can find it on all the social media channels, Facebook and YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and all that sort of stuff. It's really important. It kind of helps you guys shape the service, right? It shapes the service that the Royal Voluntary Service Virtual Village Hall provide for you. So you get to have your say. There's so much fantastic content on here. Please engage with these guys because they're amazing. We'll see where it goes over the next few years. It's such a good service. Thank you for joining. I'm back here on my mat this time on Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Always on a Thursday at 2:30 p.m. And I've just had a lovely email from the Virtual Village Hall saying, these are your dates for July and August. So there's going to be loads more chair yoga once a week. It's not always at the same time. It kind of jumps about a little bit in terms of scheduling. But you check the schedule at the start of the week and see all the amazing instructors. And I think there is going to be an additional once or twice a month chair yoga class, not taught by me, taught by another amazing instructor. And I think that's coming as well. So there's going to be loads of chair yoga to go at over the summer months. So really exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to that. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. As I said during the class, try and enjoy life. All right, guys, look after yourselves. I'll see you all soon. Bye.